Kia ora, I'm Roxanna Holdsworth.
And I'm Amy Marfell. In this presentation, we share insights from This Is Me, Sport Waikato's targeted initiative to support, encourage and celebrate physical activity participation among women and girls in New Zealand. In particular, we focus on the initiative's digital media strategy, which, through the use of technology and the promotion of user-generated content on social media, aims to increase the visibility and voice of New Zealand women and girls in and through play, active recreation and sport. We highlight our strategies for growing the spaces in which girls and women can be seen and heard, and the progress we have made towards increasing the visibility of real women and girls doing real physical activity. In so doing, we explain how we are working to challenge the dominant depictions of women and girls being active in the media, and therefore ensure that imagery of women and girls being active contributes positively to their well-being versus detracting from it. Females in New Zealand and around the world have had a contentious relationship with sport, physical activity and the media. We have progressed from a society where physical activity for females in many forms was not permitted, let alone covered in the media, to one that allowed participation but very rarely celebrated it, to a society, and particularly in New Zealand, that for the most part now recognises the inequalities that exist and is attempting to make amends for a lack of opportunities and visibility, albeit with slow progress. Interestingly, however, what has occurred in the process of elevating coverage of women's sport and active women over time, in many instances, is an increase of coverage of female athletes, but not necessarily increases in the ways these females are celebrated for their sporting and athletic prowess or their achievements. With the increase of media coverage of women's sport and female athletes has come a raft of challenges, particularly when you think about the everyday female participant. For example, portrayals of high-performance sportswomen have increased their visibility, but often in stereotyped, sexualised and trivialised ways. Equally, the exposure of these athletic bodies, toned, taut, trim and muscular, but not too muscular, has sent messages far and wide about who fits and who doesn't, and who is valued and who is not when it comes to participation in sport and physical activity. Of course, the internet has absolutely revolutionised the ways we consume and view sport, physical activity and active female bodies. In New Zealand, 82% of the population were active social media users in 2020, with predictions that this number would rise to 97% by the year 2021. The digital age and the rise of social media has ensured that active women are much more visible and accessible to viewership, whether this be via mainstream media coverage such as news articles and live streaming, or via the social media pages of female athletes and fitness enthusiasts themselves. Alongside elite female athletes, female fitness enthusiasts and influencers are also contributing to social constructions of the ideal female body and what it means to be active. With over 50% of Instagram users in New Zealand being female, it's no surprise that the rise in this type of fitspo imagery is having effects on the levels of confidence everyday women and girls feel about their bodies and abilities to be active in ways that meet socially imposed criteria. Again, we see a particular type of female body celebrated, one that is often unattainable to the general population. Indeed, the visibility of active women has increased across televised, print and social media channels. And while this represents significant opportunity to celebrate females in sport and physical activity and project their imagery to new audiences to increase the exposure of female sport and athletes, it is also interesting to note the challenges that come with such exposure. For example, it's interesting to note how the imagery continues to perpetuate stereotypical representations of female sporting bodies, the toned, tanned, trim and taut physique, and therefore the glaring absence of the everyday female body in depictions of active women. The curated nature of social media has leaned into these representations too, promoting flawless images utilising the perfect pose, best lighting, filters and Photoshop. However, in recent times, trends such as Instagram versus reality have lifted the lid on these aspects of content creation to expose their use and reveal the unique aspects of individual bodies that women are told to hide. Side-by-side images of edited or posed photos against those with perceived imperfections, e.g. belly rolls and cellulite, are used to dismantle unrealistic beauty standards and encourage women to embrace what is unique and real about their bodies and to stop aspiring to what they might see online.
The warts and all approach to women and their engagement in physical activity is a strategy that This Is Me has championed through digital platforms from its inception. We use Facebook and Instagram to dismantle stereotypes associated with being and staying active, to show women that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to moving your body. Our general rule is that if it's not relatable, we don't post it. We specifically seek to address barriers that women experience when attempting to be active head-on, e.g. time, cost, confidence, connection, ability, and so on. Textually and visually, this involves calling out barriers, unpacking what participation might involve, showcasing real women being active their way, and generally holding an online space for women to connect, see themselves, and feel comfortable and confident with their own physical activity journey. So let's take a look at some of the ways we achieve this. This Is Me regularly implements targeted campaigns whose primary focus is to dismantle perceptions, stereotypes, and barriers related to physical activity for women. Our 2022 campaign, New Year, New Me, This Year, This Is Me, was created to overcome the pressure for women to reinvent themselves and set unrealistic goals that are predominantly related to their appearance. Throughout the year, we also include themes to keep our content fresh and engaging and to ensure we're always challenging the status quo. A current theme is taboo topics, where we play on shock factor to show aspects of our bodies that either prevent or are as a result of participation in physical activity. The images on the slide show sweat marks, stretch marks, and underwire or bra lines as examples of some of the relatable and embarrassing issues that women experience. The aim of our work is to encourage women to embrace their bodies and instead focus on finding forms of movement that they enjoy, whether that be by rediscovering old activities, trying new ones, or looking differently at the forms of movement that they already participate in. We use our platforms to motivate women to embrace and move their bodies and participate in forms of physical activity that they enjoy in ways that work for them. You'll see some statements on the slide that reflect this. We also leverage trending topics, images, and audio, sometimes adjusting trends to fit with our aims and messaging. For example, the Little Miss trend, which was originally based in sarcasm. We also reshare content, like the TikTok shown, that perfectly showcase females engaging in or trying new forms of physical activity, or choosing to think differently about their bodies. You might also have noticed by now that we are quite specific about our language choices. We avoid words such as exercise, weight, or weight loss, and associated terms, and instead speak to the importance of women moving their bodies by highlighting what motivates them, such as fun, connection, and well-being. The bedrock of This Is Me are the everyday women and girls we exist to encourage, support, and celebrate. We privilege user-generated content on our Instagram especially, so that women are able to see other women just like them moving their bodies, finding activities that they love to participate in, and appreciating what their body can do, all with the aim of enhancing individual well-being. Followers tag This Is Me in their active photos, and we reshare them on our grid or in our stories. And this is the result. Our social media feeds show the importance of providing women and girls with spaces for sharing imagery and messaging that aligns with their own physical activity goals, aspirations, and journeys, and the impact that challenging dominant messages and imagery can have to encourage, support, and celebrate women moving their bodies in ways that work for them. Digital media can act as a powerful tool for female empowerment and can be used to break down the very barriers that it creates.
We've strategically chosen to harness the power of social media for everyday activism and advocacy. That is, enabling women and girls to use social media in ways that challenge dominant messages, imagery, and create unique spaces to enable women and girls to rewrite the narrative about their active bodies.
We hope you've been able to see that today through This Is Me and are able to apply this knowledge to your context to encourage more women and girls to be active in ways that work for them.